for me, bitch on a bitch, yo. Ay, oh, fuck, free life, yeah. I for me, she said shit, yeah, for me, I for me, oh, yeah, free love, I for me, bitch on a bitch, I for me, bitch on a bitch, I for me, bitch on a bitch, yeah, I for me, bitch on a bitch, I for me, bitch on a bitch, yeah, I for me, bitch on a bitch, I for me, bitch on a bitch, I for me, bitch on a bitch.
I be tryna get the dough, right? Wait, hold up. Now you be tryna get the hoes, right? Goddamn. Hating on me, it's gon' be a long night. Talking about it, you can get it on sight. I'm with your bitch and she talking about plans. Bitch, get on my dick, goddamn. And move around, I ain't tryna shake hands. Let's talk, you ain't talking about bands.
Hey, let's talk, you ain't talking about bands. You ain't with it, I ain't tryna shake hands. With the money, I'm just tryna advance. Let's talk, I'm just tryna break bread. No shit, we just tryna get rich. You a lame, always searching for a bitch. Yeah, goddamn, you ain't reaching for the bands. You ain't really with the shit, you ain't really with the shit. Nah.
Boy, I hate it when it be like this. When a nigga got to go and kill a beat like this. Toast to Christine, but extra virgin, not this little hoe. You can never clean my drip. I've been on it, but they act like they ain't notice. I'm a fly ass nigga, 9/11, know the focus. You can have it your way, but a nigga y'all way. When them boys sending bullets to your door like locusts. Hold up, run up a check, bitch, I'm counting it up. You try riding my way, gon' be drowning as fuck. I'm in love with the head, but it's just not enough. Baby, slow the fuck down, bitch, I ain't trying to nut. Caviar, they ain't never seen that. When I pull up in your yard, man, I'm blowing mean gas. But when I smoke y'all's whole pack full of seeds, nigga, they ain't eat weed, pussy, that's a beanbag. Lord, wait. Fuck it this way, just be at with my drinks. If I cut this fillet, that bitch better be pink. Splurge on the whole, turn my wrist to a ring. Cop the Cuban lip, bitch, but I'm not trying to link. Goddamn, pretty day left. Need to cut a pack, little nigga, stay stressed.
Not only am I down, I've been feeling broken. I will never ask for help, my emotions never open. I bury them inside, I'm just always floating. I'm up on cloud 9, I'm hoping you can notice.
Alright, welcome in guys, good afternoon. This is 3 Guys, 10 Eyes. We're live from Cloud 9. Today we got, it's 3 stacks, right?
3 love.
3 love, 3 love.
3
love.
3 LFTD.
Disrespecting our guests already.
Struggling out here, it's been the morning. Had to pick up Christian from my house.
Yeah, picked him up from his own house.
This is our co-host.
Is Ultimate Dusty?
It's Young Pillow Talk.
Yo, did you say pillow talk?
Pillow?
Huh?
Do you say pillow like pillow?
Young pillow talk with your
Pillow
talk.
You gotta put a D in there when you edit it.
I'm on an E or a 3, bro.
You gotta do a 3 because
That's what it is.
Pillow talk. Alright, so we're gonna jump into this put on segment from last week. Ultimate Dusty put on a female artist.
Yeah, so I put on the UK rapper Little Simz. You familiar with Little Simz?
Little Simz?
Yeah.
No, she's from the UK though.
Yeah, she's a UK rapper.
Oh, yeah.
So we do a put on segment every week where like we just kind of throw each other on like new music or like people we listen to.
Okay.
So,
Little
yeah.
Simz?
Little
Is it
Simz.
1 M or 2 M's?
1 N with a Z.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
So my personal opinion, it's not my style. She can rap, she has bars, but it's just the flow and the style and the sound is just not for me.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I liked her beats. Like when the beat would start, I'd be like, bro, she's pretty cold. But then she would start rapping and the lines were cold, like the lyrics were cold, but I don't know.
Y'all just don't like the UK flow?
flow just it's weird. It just sounds like they're talking.
I saw a meme the other day. It was one of those memes. It was like when the beat fires, fuck, and then the like thing after it was what a UK rapper's talking.
That's disappointing face. That's how it be, dog. There's very few UK artists that I can like just bump.
You got anything?
Oh, she actually spells it little, like Little.
Yeah.
So the only UK artist that I've listened to consistently is KSI. But
And I still can't even
yeah,
like
it's mostly because he has good features.
Yeah.
His parts are like, I don't know.
I'm a little disappointed. I thought
No,
you were gonna like
I agree with it. They're like very grimy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just like super raw when they rap. And I respect it, don't get me wrong. I don't personally like prefer it at all, but I have a profound appreciation for music in all forms. So you know,
So if it's
I respect
playing, yeah,
it.
if it's
I can
playing,
see
you can
why
still
people fuck with it and why it's so dope.
Yeah.
Come on, I'll be cursing. I don't know what's
No,
going on.
yeah,
yeah,
we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I respect it, and some of them I enjoy. Like I play a lot of FIFA, and they throw a lot of like international kind of artists on
Because
FIFA.
it's an international type of
Exactly.
game.
So you know, there'll totally be a bunch of British rappers every once in a while,
Facts.
and they make some funny soccer puns. In
Oh,
some,
really?
Yeah. One of the songs in FIFA 20. I'm an Arsenal fan, so we have a player named David Luiz, and he's pretty known for just doing absolutely terrible fouls and getting away penalties and stuff. And so in one of the songs, the dude says, "David Luiz absolutely foul." It's just, I'm like, oh, that's a good bar. That's funny as hell.
Yeah, see, like I liked her lyrics and
Yeah,
she can
sure.
spit, but I feel like
Just that
Just the
style.
flow put you up.
yeah, maybe
We're too American for that. Sorry.
that's probably what it is.
The only like UK artist I can really listen to is like Scarlord.
Yes, thank you. Star-Lord is
clean.
awesome. Star-Lord, but
I could use that as my put-on segment for you guys in 2 weeks.
But you can't, like, the British doesn't come through because he's screaming his head off all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, he's very much like, I'd say like the British XXX to this.
Yeah, or Ghost
Yeah.
Main or
They were
yeah.
like homies and shit. Like,
Okay.
like they like with Instagram.
That's actually how I found
him.
him.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
tight.
Homie of mine showed me him for sure. I grew up with metalhead, so like I have a huge love for that kind of music. I personally can't scream, but in a lot of my music that I create, it's a little bit heavier and more like, you know, in your face and
Yeah.
aggressive. And I actually just found a couple artists in Aurora who are in like metal bands and scream and rap and stuff.
Well, I
and I'm trying to
got
work with
two
them.
members in my group that grew up like big into screamo and like
Yeah,
heavy metal,
hell yeah.
and they both can scream really well. So
People don't understand how much talent that takes.
Exactly.
It really is not an easy thing to do.
especially to make it to where you can understand what is
Yeah,
coming out.
no, that's the thing too. Because I mean, there's a lot of different ways to scream, and there's the right ways and the wrong ways to
Yeah.
scream. Fry screaming, where you use your throat, you can ruin your vocal
Yeah.
cords doing that. There's a couple metal bands where their lead vocalist, like over time, couldn't scream anymore because they just destroyed their vocal cords. But like the right way is when you use your diaphragm and you like push out the like air all aggressively and make it.
Building it up.
Yeah, you're basically using
And
your
it's like a
throat as like a
growl.
passageway.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like the proper way to do it. That's where you get like the deep gutturals, like the really. That's where like you hear like a brutal. So I'll tell you
I
that.
can't do
If whisper screaming was a thing, I'd have been a metal artist a long time ago. But like whisper screaming isn't really a thing, so
So
like
make it a thing.
I would love to, yeah. But it's just the problem with it is it doesn't come out well when on a
Yeah.
microphone and
That makes
recording.
sense.
It sounds a little awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But like, my God, I could write metal music for days for people if they let me ghostwrite for them. I honestly like to ghostwrite. I found that out pretty recently because I wrote a song and I tried to record it, and in my mind it sounded a certain way, and I just myself couldn't get it to sound that way. And a homie of mine who's just like, you know, super rock star, like kind of like vibes and stuff, he hit it and just it
Killed it.
Yeah.
That's how I
And
know.
I was
I've been
like,
writing
yo.
shit and I'm like, I can't sing this.
Sometimes, you know, sometimes you can't. That's also like, cause there's a couple female artists I'm trying to work with.
Oh, I
and-
graduate for female artists.
Yes, exactly, and you know, it's really dope when someone can take your, you know, your lyrics or what
And
you've
make it
written.
sound
Exactly,
amazing.
because sometimes, you know, you kind of have to have some humility about it, but like sometimes you just can't, especially the way that like you want it to sound in your head, and when you have certain limits, you know what I mean? Because like myself, like I have breathing problems and shit like that, so like I can't always like, you know, I don't got pipes because of that. So like I gotta kind of like ease off of that and allow other people to have that opportunity if it's something that's worth it, you know?
For sure.
This time.
Yeah. But yeah, no, lyrics for me are really important. I definitely, I'm almost like, you know, I'm way overcritical of myself, and I like am way in depth about it and care too much, you know what I mean? Sometimes it holds me back. That's part of the reason why I haven't released a ton of music,
Right.
is because I'm like waiting for it to be perfect, and I gotta do a million things to touch it all up, because most of my music, in my opinion, is sitting at like 90%, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to release it all until it's at 110.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where I'm at with a lot of stuff. And I was gonna be going to studios and doing this and that, and then COVID happened, and it just kind of threw off the whole thing. Definitely, I was a social worker for a long time, and they shut down my job because of it. So
that's unfortunate.
yeah, but that's honestly kind of like why I started my modeling agency this year, because of that, basically, because I was pretty much left with little options because of that, and I just kind of went for it, full send type shit, just yeah.
What's the name of your agency?
So it's called Elevated Entertainment, and it's spelled ELVTD, so like abbreviated, but yeah. And what we want to do, the entire reason why I started it is to work with musicians, to connect with them. Yeah. So like when they need models in music videos or for merch or various other things, even for businesses, like we did a job with a head shop where they just got a bunch of like tie-dye clothes, and so we got a couple of our models to model their stuff. Cool. And little things like that here and there, but it's essentially for the purpose of connecting local businesses and artists and kind of turning it into more of a professional scene as far as connecting people together. Because when I've done music videos in the past, you don't do things professionally, like with contracts and all that kind of stuff. As artists, a lot of the time you just kind of like do it all under the table.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that that's not how it's done officially, like in Hollywood and stuff. You do it professionally. You do it with contracts, you go through an agency to get your models, you do all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's not really like a thing out here. So one of my goals is to kind of make it more common practice and get local artists more used to that idea of doing things more professionally. Because me personally, I've definitely been fucked over in situations where it's like, I paid for a bunch of merch and then got half of it, and I'm still waiting for the other half, and it's been almost a full year since then, and I didn't sign them under a contract, so there's nothing I can do.
With those private sellers, that happens a lot, I feel like.
There's nothing I can do, just took my money and ran with it,
Yeah, because most of the time it's just like you message them on Twitter or something, and then you cash app them, and then you really just gotta hope that they're honest.
Exactly. So, and a lot of the times you find good people, but life is life, and sometimes things happen, and on another person's end, you can't, it sucks, and you want to be forgiving and understanding and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, when you're kind of getting screwed out of something,
you lose your money.
You want there to be some sort of communication and some sort of something to come out of it. I've been waiting for a minute to get like my hoodies and hats, and I'm trying to do this, when I do the show, I'm trying to have merch to sell.
Yeah. So you paid for like your own merch to be made.
Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah. I got half of it. I got my shirts and hats, and then I sold it all. I'm all sold out of that stuff. There was a decent demand for it.
Do they get back to you, or are they just like ignoring you?
You know what, bro? I blew this. I'm not trying to talk shit or anything, but I blew this dude up, and he didn't reply to me. And then he replied to me out of the blue, was like, "Yo, what's good?" And I said, "Hey man, I got a show on October 2nd, can I get my merch?" And I haven't had a response, so
that's tragic.
I'm waiting.
Really unprofessional.
It is, and it's a sad situation, because I'm somebody, I probably trust too much. I put too much faith in other people, and I want to believe that people will come through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm fingers crossed, still hoping, still waiting, and everyone I know is telling me not to, not to put any faith in it or just move on type stuff. But I want to believe in these people. I want to, I want to believe that we can work together. I don't want to just be in I don't want to be in a situation where, I don't ever work with somebody again because I got screwed over. And, I just don't I don't want to say making enemies, because it's not making enemies, but it's just I don't like relationships to become sour for any reason at all. So
I feel that.
Yeah.
So how do you find clients for your agency? Are they people you know, or do they send you headshots and pictures?
So there's a few ways of doing that. One of the first ways, as manager, for the purpose of connecting with other artists, you know, fellow musicians, I have just kind of hit up a plethora of people on Facebook, either that I know or people that I've never talked to, but kind of, you know how Facebook works, you kind of just have those connections somehow. So you just, I'll, you know, let them know what we offer as a service, which is, you know, they can rent the models for various reasons. That's one way. The other way is ad campaigns. So just like running ads on Instagram and Facebook, and we're actually one of our models just got on the cover of Misfit magazine, and so we're gonna start running a ad campaign for her, and that's gonna be pretty dope. I'm stoked about that.
Yeah,
How it's gonna turn out. She's super tight. She like does a lot of cosplay stuff and is like really embedded in the whole anime world and stuff.
Do you find your models the same way, like Facebook and stuff?
Yes and no. So Instagram has been one of my main ones, and I call this process scouting, where you kind of just like you find local models on their Instagram. They'll have, you know, if they're with friends, then you can kind of see their tags, follow their friends. Local photographers will have a ton of pictures of local models. So you just kind of go through the rounds of either looking up a hashtag like Denver models or little things here and there, and you just kind of, you know, go through the social media routes of finding people, and then you just kind of message people, you know, honestly a mass amount of messaging people just out of the blue. And it's okay if, you know, for every 10 people you message, you get 1 or 2 replies. It's still really solid. And you know, out of those 1 or 2 replies, you might get one of them down, you know, and another one leaves you on scene. But it's okay. And another thing that I've actually noticed is ever since I started doing that, I think I've kind of like forced my way into the Instagram algorithm, because like so many people are being directed to my page, you know, because I'm messaging them, so they're kind of like automatically coming to my page. It took me 2 years on my Instagram to get it to 1,000. And then ever since I hit 1,000, it just kind of like went up on its own. Now it's sitting at almost 1,500, and that was like from 1,000 to 15, maybe a month and a half span. So like it's pretty dope that happened. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just started messaging a bajillion people and just kind of like forced my way into that algorithm, which I'm not good at social media. So that's something I realized real quick. It was like, oh, okay, that's part of how that works, huh? But yeah, those are little things that we do. Also, I'm working with a media company, so all, you know, everything that we're doing is kind of like advertising and stuff like that. So that's going to be our main way of trying to get jobs and stuff. I'm really fingers crossed, hoping that more artists are going to be hitting me up for jobs and you know, things here and there soon. COVID's kind of posed a little bit of an issue, obviously, and then the other thing with running a modeling agency is actually that you're so dependent on other people to have like something come up that they need to work for, whatever it be. And I mean, especially with venues being closed and stuff like that, like you can't get your models to be hired as dancers and stuff like that. Even the show that I'm doing on October 2nd, I was like, hey, can I get a couple models to dance on stage? And they told me because of their precautions, they just can't do that, which is totally understandable. I'm super thankful that there's even a venue that's allowing a show to happen, because I've been doing house shows for like the past month, basically, just like, you know, basement shows and backyard shows and stuff, which have been dope. It's been really fun to do that. Since then, I haven't performed, you know, it's been like 3 years since before then. Wow. And 3 years ago, I was a feature artist. So I was, you know, in rap groups and stuff. So all of my songs, we would do like a 15-minute set, and I'd have like maybe 3 or 4, and they'd just be like verses and choruses here and there. So it was like a group collective, and I'd never performed solo before. And that's kind of why I definitely took a hiatus from performing, kind of took a step back and started focusing on actually becoming a solo artist. And then over time period, music was finally made, and now I've gotten to the point where it's like, all right, ready to kind of, you know, break out in the scene by myself and just be myself. And obviously all my homies are still, you know, we're still a collective, but we're not like a rap group mentality anymore, if that makes sense. We're more
attached at the hip kind of thing.
Yeah, we're solo artists. And
so it's kind of like LFTD or something like where you're in that
Yeah,
group, but
yeah,
you do
we-
all your own stuff?
Exactly. It's something that like eventually down the road would love to make a record label as well, type of stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, sign people and treat ourselves as artists in the label as well. But yeah, no, we're not like attached to the hip. We don't think in the way of like we have to make decisions with each other every time. Like now we're thinking for ourselves and we're doing things that
That's cool.
benefit ourselves and then also benefit the group, but
Right.
you know, it's not something where we have to make every decision as a collective. Now we can kind of be more free in that way, which it's allowed us all to grow
Yeah.
in many different ways. You know, me as an artist, as a lyricist, that's been my biggest thing is like, you know, reaching that next level. Cause you know, as an artist, when you write music and when you do those kind of things, you know, when you level up, you can feel it. You can write a verse to something and be like, oh, like a month ago, I wouldn't have been able to write something like that. Something's changed since then. And it's just because you get better and better, you know what I mean? And that's why that Little Simz, you know, might not like her right now, but who knows? Who knows, you know? Like, give her.
Yeah, personally, my tastes like change constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even like some artists that I like really enjoy, like some songs like they don't hit the same
Yeah.
anymore, and like you gotta start.
Dude, I go
getting
through that
shit
all the
together.
time. Like a song that like or an album last year that I had on repeat for like a month.
Mhm.
Then like the songs will come up now, and I'm like skipping them because I'm just not feeling it. It's kind of weird.
Sometimes
like
that happens, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, as a hip hop artist, I call myself an alternative rapper
Mhm.
because I don't like to like confine myself. Yeah, because you have more freedom.
Yeah, you wanna
I
be
do
able to
this
do
and I do
whatever.
that. Yeah, so it's a lot better because I'm versatile. But even right now, as a hip hop artist, I absolutely love indie rock. That's my shit. Like it touches my soul.
You know who the Hold Up is?
Hold Up?
The Hold Up? Yeah.
The Hold Up? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I couldn't name songs off the top of my head.
They're based out of San Jose,
Okay.
but they're getting a pretty good following
Now they are.
nationwide.
Yeah.
We've known them since like 2010,
Oh, okay. Dope.
and they're so good. They're like
Dope.
my favorite indie
I
rock group.
feel like I've heard of the Hold Up. Like I don't like to pretend like I know or don't know.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was driving me crazy. Like a week ago, I couldn't find a song, and it was driving me crazy. And a friend of mine had just started playing on his like Pandora or whatever, and I was like, oh my god, thank you, like it's there, like
Right.
and it's Lock It by Crumb, if you've ever heard that song. It's like she seems like she's probably like, you know, Indian, like from India
Mhm.
or like Palestinian maybe, but she's like the lead singer, and it's very poetic, very soft, very just like the lyrics, you know, take you there. It really it puts you with her, which is really I love music like that. Where
Yeah.
it kind of like brings you there, and it puts you in that situation, in that position where you're like, you know, you feel like you're a part of it in a way that,
Okay.
and that's something where.
And they're called Crumb, right?
Yeah, the band's called Crumb and the song's called Lock It, and it's just so, dude, like I'm so glad that I finally found it, because I was just like, it was like in my head. I couldn't remember the lyrics, but it was just like in my head, and I was like, I need to find this song, like, and I just gave up after a while. I gave up. I was like, I'm never gonna find it, and then played randomly. It's a
Great.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's nice.
Hell yeah.
So, going to back what you said earlier, do you like about Colorado artists? What do you think is kind of keeping them from blowing up, like New York, LA, Atlanta?
So I've been in the scene since I was like 17, 18. And you know, like I said, back in the day, we were doing the pay to play and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, over the years, I've had enough time to kind of analyze what's going on out here and how everything is. And it comes down to a few things. Mainly, there's a really toxic mentality in Colorado.
Yeah, we were
Big
saying that last
Yeah,
week, too.
and so this is kind of like what I've kind of like picked it apart as. The toxic mentality that exists out here is that one person's success is your own failure. So a lot of people don't support each other, or there's like fake support and love.
Yeah.
Because they truly don't want to see somebody get big and blow up.
They feel like it's competition.
They feel like it's competition. They feel like they'll be left behind. And so what that does is it creates that toxic, just air amongst everybody, to where there's not really any true love or support for each other, and nobody, is coming up together as collectives and as a community and as a culture. Instead, everybody's kind of putting themselves in their own separate boxes.
Exactly.
And a part of that reason is because there's really no famous rappers from Colorado.
Yeah.
There's no household name artists like Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, nothing out that in Denver. EDM is the big thing here, it's the bass capital of the world, so you got to respect that for what it is. But as far as the rap community and culture, there really isn't one out here, and that's the difference between Denver and other cities like New York and LA, and even you got like Miami and Atlanta and Chicago and Memphis. All these little places are, they have these cultures that have been built within their cities for generations. Now it's been, finding out that Memphis had its start with 3 6 Mafia and all that kind of stuff, and it goes back to the 90s. I didn't really realize that. I thought it was way more of a recent thing.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show how deeply rooted in those cities. Yeah, it's ingrained in those places. And Denver doesn't really have a culture like that. A lot of it is because it's never really been a hip-hop city. It's been a country, like a country state. And then EDM took over because we have, the venues that can support it. We have Red Rocks, which is a really big deal.
Yeah.
But all those kind of places are really now just immersed in the rave culture. And that's just what's big out here, which I think we could take advantage of. I always said, like, why can't the bass capital of the world be 808s? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we be involved in that as well? Just make my music hella bassy. Yeah. I'm trying to get a couple of my songs remixed by DJs. So there's like a few ideas that I have swimming around where it's like you can force your way into that scene, even as a rapper. You can get your music on dance floors.
Yeah, I've even heard like a lot of like good music where it's like rapping over an EDM beat, and it's like if you can do it, like I assume it's hard.
I feel like the bigger name artists are using like Marshmello.
Yes.
They used to be Skrillex. He used to do a lot of beats.
Skrillex but Marshmello's big. I mean, and then I think personally, like, you got those ones that are like remixing the songs, but then you have like Diplo is making like songs with the artists, from the get-go, and it's a collab.
That's cool.
Together. Those ones are like really, really good. You know what I mean?
Isn't it the song with Lil Pump from that movie with Diplo? That's a Diplo beat, right?
From Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, with French Montana.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's a good song. So,
yeah, it's not bad. Even though, like, dude, honestly, it's kind of funny when like, I used to be so good at freestyling, like, a couple of years ago, and then all that mumble rap came out, like Lil Pump, Uzi Vert, all those guys came out, and I was listening to them consistently because I fucking loved it, you know what I mean? But then I would join some freestyle circles, and I realized real quick, oh dude, my freestyling got trash all of a sudden, and it was just because I was like exposing myself to garbage lyricism, and I mean, they're dope in their own way because it's hype shit, you know what I mean? It's dummy stuff. It's meant to kind of just like you zone out to, and your mind goes blank type shit. You don't really think when you listen to that kind of stuff, which is why it's so fucking popular. And a lot of it is because today's society has like no attention span and all that kind of stuff, But anyways, all that, I was listening to all that stuff, and then my freestyle just it became garbage real quick. So I made sure I started listening to like Mac Miller and Flatbush again, and kind of like
build it back up.
Yeah, it's really important.
He hates Mac Miller with a
really
good passion.
I know somebody who hates Mac Miller too.
This man is lying.
Yeah, okay, word. Same here. I love Mac Miller. He was actually one of the reasons why I started rapping. I was like very inspired by him, and then when he passed away, I was never the same. And actually, what is it like? I think it's a year.
Tomorrow. It's 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just
But
crazy.
yeah, I know.
Time's flying. That really doesn't feel like that long ago, honestly.
Time's nuts, man. Time's crazy. One of the about Mac Miller, one of the things that has always inspired me. I have no tattoos right now. A lot of it is because like I want fuck you money for my music career before I start getting tatted. I want like thousands of dollar pieces and shit like that. I want to be like optical illusion status type tattoos and shit. I remember on Instagram the day that Mac Miller posted his Pittsburgh Pete. Like he posted that on Instagram, and for whatever reason, it stuck with me. Like that memory of seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I remember the day that. Did you guys ever listen to Delusional Thomas?
Yeah.
So that picture, the album cover where he's like dragging the doll and smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
He posted the regular picture on Instagram once before Delusional Thomas was a thing, and he kind of like warped his face and made it black and white. So that was the only reason why I realized that Delusional Thomas was Mac Miller, was because I recognized the picture he posted on Instagram, which later he deleted. Yeah. So it was like, that was one of those things where I only realized it because I caught it. You know what I mean? Same with the Pittsburgh P, because he later deleted that too. And that's something, as an artist, I kind of want to, do the same thing. I want to document as I get my tattoos. So as I'm creating a fan base, they'll recognize me for certain times. And if I ever meet someone who's like, yo, I've been following you since you got this tattoo, then I'll know exactly how long that fan has been following me for.
That's pretty
type
cool.
Stuff. So in a weird way, I want to kind of recreate that experience that I had with Mac Miller, even though I never got to meet him or work with him, which is something that I would have loved to do. But that's something for me. It was special to me. It stuck with me, and I kind of, in a weird way, want to recreate that experience in the future for somebody else.
Well, I know you're trying to get masterpieces, but then you kind of got to get a tattoo now, so then you know who your OGs are.
So that's true. I feel that. I do, and I told myself I was gonna get tats this year. I told myself a few things. So I was gonna perform this year, and then COVID happened. I was like, oh, it looks like I'm not. Thankfully, I did actually get to perform this year, and I am performing this year. So like. That happened, so maybe I'll get myself some tats. I already know it might sound weird, but I'm like mapped out. I've had some of the same ideas for years. Like I literally got a list on my phone of like what they are.
That's how I am.
Yeah, no, and you just kind of like gotta get it when you can. But definitely like a friend of mine passed away, and that's the first one. It's gonna be like a microphone right on my heart because he was a really good.
My first one was with my dog who passed away. It was like my childhood dog. I was 15 years old.
See, when you got that tat, damn son, like my parents would have killed me if I got tattoos at 15.
So it was supposed to be like a family tat, and then I was literally the only one who went and got it. But I got like this coupon from something. I was like at some like festival or something, and they gave me this pins and needles tattoo. So I was like, yo, I got this pins and needles tattoo. I'll cover the whatever's remaining, but I just need you guys to go with me and sign off. My parents were like, yeah, that's fine. Since you have like a meaningful tattoo, it's not like some stupid shit like a fucking clown face, just showing. But like, so
Maybe someone really loves clowns, bro.
yeah, we
Clowns are creepy.
Yeah.
Some people like clowns.
Some people.
But like, it was a meaningful tattoo. My dad was like, I'll go with you, I'll sign off on it, we can discuss. So like I ended up just going and getting it. It took me 6 years to get another one.
Well, there you go. That's good.
I wanted tattoos, but for the longest time I didn't know what to get.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man, I don't know what I want. And then when Mac died, I was like, I have to get a Mac one. Because he's literally been my favorite artist since I was like 13.
He was also scared that it was gonna hurt.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, he was.
But
Sorry.
this man cried and moved so bad that his tattoo got fucked up.
I didn't cry, I just moved. I was 15 and had no fucking weight. It was all bone. He was hitting my bone the whole time.
Have you guys seen that movie with Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
The King of Staten Island.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Bro, love that movie. When he
It's
just
a good
starts tattooing.
Tattoos that like 12-year-old
Yeah, that was such a
Is that in The King of Staten Island?
Yeah.
It's also in adult adolescence.
Really?
Tattoo a 15-year-old.
There's a high school freshman.
I haven't seen that one.
Did they complete the tattoo?
Yeah.
See, they don't complete it.
Yeah, he started the line, and the little 8-year-old
He's like,
was, ow, like that hurts so bad. He was like, well, now I gotta finish it, otherwise and he went and told his dad, and that ended up being like the whole thing that brought the movie together, because his dad like ended up dating his mom, so it was like, so it just
You
like,
tattoo my kid?
yeah,
I haven't seen
that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened,
I'm
bro.
fucking dead.
And it's Bill Burr who played the dad, and
No, for real?
Bill Burr's the shit, bro. Like he's his stand-up's great, his acting's pretty good. He's one of those people who he just is himself when he acts, you know, like certain people like Jim Carrey, like when you get Jim Carrey to work in a movie, you don't get him to act as a specific thing, you get him to be Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
You get Denzel Washington, or you get why can't I think? Who's the guy who does all the
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, thank you.
You just knew all
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, you get Will Smith. Will Smith plays the same character in
Pretty much everything, yeah.
He has some different scenes, but like most of the
So
time.
like
it's
even
just
like
no,
I don't know, Jim
badass
Carrey has
fun.
some like out there roles. Like
Yeah.
you ever see that movie 23?
So like there's
Like,
there's
that's
like
not
the
traditional Jim
outliers.
Carrey. Yeah.
There's the outliers, but like Will Smith's normally like the badass, funny, popular dude.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
So
Very true.
like people like that.
You know, I hated Will Smith in Suicide Squad. I thought he was not good.
See, I think he was one of the
I
highest
thought he
ones.
was, yeah.
Really, you thought so?
Yeah.
I didn't like Suicide Squad in general.
Yeah,
I thought that was
I'm an odd commodity because I actually like it.
You did, bro. I'm first of all, like in comparison, Marvel for sure.
Yeah.
Marvel's way better.
No,
Well,
yeah.
so the way I see it, Marvel definitely, they have the better heroes. Like Spider-Man's my favorite hero.
yeah.
And they got the more hyped movies, and their stories are good.
Yeah.
But I think when you get down into like the roots of their stories, DC is like untouched on that part.
DC. The only thing that I really appreciate about them is, like, between the two, DC's way darker.
Yeah.
Like it's just way.
They get more like real and emotional with
Yeah.
their stories.
And they
raw,
follow the
and
comic more.
there's a lot more there's a lot more just like straight murder
just
and shit that happens.
That's true.
And then on the other end, they're cartoons. They're like
The
if you-
animated movies,
yeah,
animated
those are
movies really
untouched.
good.
I swear, if they did those live action, I would be way more of a fan of DC. I'm not a fan of their execution so far. I definitely feel like they rushed Justice League because they were chasing Avengers,
Oh,
and
yeah.
now
There's
like
certain
they're
things.
struggling to recover.
There's certain things, you know, and I appreciate because like I'm a history nerd. I know that's weird, but like.
Now I was actually gonna be a history teacher, so that's not weird.
So I
Yeah.
was in
Yeah.
love. I was in love
Math
with
teacher.
the fact that Wonder Woman was based during World War One.
Yeah.
Because there's never any fucking movies during World War One.
That's
World War Two is glorified, and you see that shit all the time.
all the time.
So like when Wonder Woman was based during World War One, I was like, oh, this is so sick, like trench warfare and shit, like all the like, you know, the bad guys happening during that time was so cool. And then, bro, 1917.
That movie was so good.
Oh my
The
god.
one
It's still on
shot,
my list for a
the
while.
one shot camera angle was
So
tight.
that's what's so cool. Did you know how they used one camera the entire time, and it was like choreographed in such a way to where they would have had to like practice for months before
Because
any filming.
They didn't cut or do different
No,
angles.
yeah,
it was literally that
nothing. It was
one
just
camera.
straight
Imagine
through.
being the one guy who fucked up.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that probably actually happened once or twice. And they, like, no matter how far they would have got during the filming, if one person fucked up, they would have had to do it all over again. Just because of like
The way it's
the
set
way
up.
that it went and all that. It was, yo, you
The
got
whole movie?
the whole. So there is one moment in the movie where the dude like gets blown back by like falling shit, and the screen goes black for a second. So you assume that's like the one spot in the movie where any camera, whatever, wasn't there, because it was like all dusty and like, you know, black and stuff for a second. So if there was a single moment in the movie where they were able to like cut, that was the moment. But then from there on, again, it went one camera.
Dude, imagine trying to pitch that idea.
Yo,
He would have had to be like so convincing.
So there's gonna be 1917 won like a ton of like Academy Awards and stuff because it was like best directing or whatever, best like cinematography, like all sorts of stuff, and honestly well deserved too, because it's a cinematic masterpiece for sure.
It's
Like,
so good.
I've never
Story's
seen
so
anything
good.
like it. Like, bro, they straight up had to wait on days like to film because it was like too cloudy, and they just like, you know, because of the weather they just couldn't do it.
That's crazy.
So like certain things, like so much went into it that it really makes it like.
Yeah. I really wish Hollywood would take more risks like that. I feel like Hollywood has definitely become way more following a formula.
Yeah.
And like I know we love on Marvel, but I feel like people are trying to follow the Marvel.
So
template
this is
too
kind
much.
of Hollywood kind of sucks right now.
I mean,
And
I agree.
a
Yeah.
lot of that has to do with the fact that, you know, all they're doing is just like remakes and
All the time.
you know, or sequels and yada yada type stuff. They're out of ideas. It seems like they're completely out
Which
of
is
ideas.
crazy because I feel like I talk to so many people and they're like, oh, I got like, if I made it big, I have an idea for a show or a movie, and it's like something I've never heard
Bro.
before, and like you can't come up with something just off the wall.
That's why Netflix and all these streaming platforms are like putting Hollywood in, you know, putting it in the rearview mirror, really. And there is even a thing like a couple Hollywood directors are trying to make it so that like Netflix and all these other whatevers can't get any kind of Academy Awards because he's, you know,
It's
they're
very
trying to keep it
elitist
just in
society.
Hollywood. Yeah, no, exactly, because they know that they suck and they're worried that they're gonna be, you know, left in the dust because they fucking are, bro. Because Netflix and all those original ideas and everything that's coming from those, a lot of it is just a million times better. Even the crappy ones you see every now and then. What movie was it? It had Shia LaBeouf in it. That recent
The
one.
Tax Collector.
Yo, I low key did not like it, and
Very alive.
and so this is why. It was one of those movies, it was an hour and a half, right? They had so much development and background story and stuff, and then I got to the middle where like everything kind of, you know, shit started hitting the fan, and
then
within
it's
30 minutes it ended. And it just kind of, you know, 30, 45 minutes it ended, and it was one of those movies where
You want more?
there could have been another like, you know, 30 minutes or, you know, of content filling in the background story, kind of telling everything going on, the action and everything. The climax could have been really, you know, done differently and done better. They rushed it. They rushed it way too quick. They killed Shia LaBeouf off way too early. You know, all these things started happening where it was just like, you know, like it was exciting while you're watching it, but then the movie's over and you're just like,
Just left kind of.
you know, yeah, because it was a dope setup. It was the story and everything seemed really cool, seemed really badass, and the characters were great. And then all of a sudden, just shit started going wild, and it ended way too abruptly. And it
I
was
think
one of those
you
movies
kind of have to
where-
blame the consumer on that a little bit
You think
too,
so?
because there's definitely been a trend of
Shorter
shorter movies because you're not going to sign off on a
Attention spans.
2-3 hour movie
People
even
don't
if you
have
need
attention
it,
spans.
and it kind of goes back to that mumble rap thing that
Yeah,
people
No,
are just like
that's why you
used to
have
it now.
minute and a half long songs now, and it's not a bad idea because there's attention spans are so short. People are more willing to listen to a song that's less than 2 minutes than a song that's like 4 minutes nowadays. And they'd rather listen to a song that's like less than a minute or I mean less than 2 minutes and put it on repeat
Then an
than
album.
listen to a song that's actually 4 minutes long all the way through. And you know, one of my homies probably he's amazing. He's, in my opinion, one of the people who's up next as far as Colorado rap goes. But anyways, he's been doing that more recently with his music. He's been making like the verses about a minute and a half, and then he'll finish the instrumental with just like loud bass and kind of trail off to like, you know, where it kind of just ends that way. And it, like, even from my perspective, it makes you want to press play again because you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what did this guy just say? This song was so dope. Like, it's over already. Let me listen to it again. So it's a good tactic. It's a good tactic because it gets those plays, it gets it going quickly and faster and all that kind of stuff. But it's a reflection of how society is now. And so
I mean,
I like longer movies actually. Like when I found out the Snyder cut of Justice League is 4 hours, I was like, let's go. But then they said they're like breaking it up. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. But I was excited for the 4 hours.
So I
wasn't
agree
like,
with that.
pissed.
I agree with that. I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how they had like the full versions and then like the way edited
My
down
brother
versions?
can only watch the director's cuts. He can't watch the normal versions anymore.
Really?
He needs the 4 hour ones.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched the full length of like the third movie, because between the director's cut and the other one, you don't see Saruman fall from the top and impale himself.
Yeah.
It like, you know what I mean? And that's important.
Right.
Because like you don't see Saruman die, you just don't know what happens to him in that.
I've never seen the director's cut.
So yeah, he's like,
That's like an extra
like
hour per
literally,
movie.
because like, you know, after the second movie, like Isengard got all like flooded in and stuff, and everything was like ruined. And so in the third movie, they're like traveling that direction, and you see like Treebeard, like you know the tree guy, and he's all standing there chilling with like everybody, and you see Saruman come out at the top, and it's very dramatic. He's just like, this world sucks, and he just like falls from the top and just straight impales himself on like one of those like turning windmills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you see Treebeard say like, you know, something epic. He's like, and that's the fall of the dark, whatever the fuck. You know, he says some dope shit. But like between the director's cut and the other one, all you see is Treebeard go, and that's the fall of the whatever. But you don't see Saruman like blood like coming up from the river and shit, like all that. You don't see his death, so it's missing a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And sometimes you need it. And I know like Lord of the Rings movies are 3.5 hour long, but like sometimes it's worth it. You're invested. You know?
Like how long was Endgame? Like 3 hours.
Yeah.
If it was any shorter, they
So-
would have left some out.
So I want to know. I want to know because I'm like super nerd about things like that. What did you guys think about Endgame?
It was good. I liked Infinity War better.
Infinity War was amazing. I was shitting my pants on Infinity War. I mean, it starts with just straight cold blood,
Yeah.
and then just like
Asshole.
throughout the entire movie, people are like dying left and right, like important characters, and you're just like, you know, pulling out your hair, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
All right.
In that movie, like you walked out.
And you were just- it was so
I was in
quiet.
that premiere. Nobody said shit.
Yeah,
they was just like, I walked to the car
Dead
with my
silence,
girlfriend,
everyone
and we
was
got
like-
to the car, and I was just like, holy fuck, they killed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna shoot myself.
You turned into dust, bro. So I had so many. I had so many ideas and concepts, right? Going into
Fan theories were crazy.
and honestly, a lot of the fan theories, and I think this about Star Wars too, but a lot of the fan theories a million times better than
I
what
agree.
actually happened. So this is I didn't like Endgame, and the reason there's a few reasons why, but the main is because when you solve your fucking problems with time travel, you're cheating. You're fucking cheating, and it sucks because, you know, time travel is such a difficult concept and whatever to like kind of grasp, so there's all these holes in that shit, you know what I mean? I was thoroughly disappointed with the fact that was what they decided to do to fix all that
Especially
shit.
since, like, my problem with the time travel is you watch Doctor Strange, he pauses time, goes fucks with Dormammu, and then, like, Mordo's pissed. Like, he's like, bro, like, the balance always comes due. And it's like they made it like, don't fuck with time.
Right.
And then, like, they're like, oh, yeah, you can fuck with time if it's Thanos.
See, the butterfly effect has been known for time travel for decades now, and then they're just like, oh no, it doesn't make it's not
And, like, the
here.
other thing is it's like, yeah, it's time travel, but to, like, a different universe. So, like, our time's not fucked up, but we're screwing up these other timelines. So
There was just certain things because they made Thanos a bitch. You know what I mean? They made
No,
him, like,
so
little-
what pissed me off is this man had no gauntlet, no stones, and he was wrecking them with just his little staff. It was like wrecking them. But
They were rusty, but I see,
it's like in the whole pissed me off that he was just a bitch all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There was just certain things, and it really.
It's like it was good for what it was. I get it was like 10-year build.
Yeah.
In the movie theater, I was like, that was cool, but I didn't.
You know, people were
leave.
crying. People loved it, bro.
Yeah.
I was sitting there the entire time in the theater, like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
When I left Endgame, I was like, that was cool, but I didn't leave thinking I just seen something amazing.
No,
like when I left
Infinity War left you like.
I think
shocked.
what makes you feeling like, okay, this is a good movie, is the ending, because how they ended it with like Iron Man saying "I love you 3000," like that leaves something with you.
That did
change your perspective as the full
pulled
movie
on some
has.
heartstrings. They did good with pulling on the
I mean,
heartstrings.
I totally get why they did it. That they wanted to focus on the OG6.
Right.
It was like it was almost more like Avengers 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like their story continued. But like they build it up as Infinity War is like all these heroes coming together, and then they just show up at the end. To
See,
kick
did,
ass.
did
It's
you
like,
did you guys see the end? Because you have to watch the end and everything through and all the Marvel movies, and they're all connected to other situations.
course.
So did you watch the end of the Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah, of
And
course.
see him like get stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
So this was my idea. Obviously everybody turned to ash, and what I thought it was is they got put in that yellow stone. I thought that's what it was. Like they all got
Especially since Thanos met Gamora there.
right. So all those kind of things. I thought that's what was going on. So during the movie, I thought you weren't only going to see the people who survived, but you were also going to go in there and kind of see all the people in there who got sucked into it, being
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?" Instead, you don't see them at all. Years go by, people are getting fat and shit, and they're like, "Oh, we're sorry sacks of shit because life sucks now." And you never see any of the people who died the entire time. I was like expecting to see them inside the little fucking gem, and then I thought the whole Ant-Man situation was going to have a lot to do with it. I thought like the quantum realm that he ended up
Get
getting
attached
lost
to it?
into. Yeah, was going to somehow be involved with the gem, and he was going to like end up there, or
free though.
and like help, or something was going to happen internally. You know what I mean? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Those were my fan prediction type shit. I mean, maybe it's not that well thought out or connected, but either way, that's a million times better than time travel.
Yeah, I agree. And like, there's just so many cop-outs when you start getting into time travel.
Yeah, dude,
like,
shit.
okay, like, I know Doctor Strange, he went through like 10 million fucking situations.
That was the only
Like,
one
but
that
there's
worked.
so many, like, people are like, oh, what about this scenario? What about this scenario? Like, cut off his gauntlet with a portal. Like, how does he beat you then? Or, hey, time travel back a year if you're gonna fucking time travel. Warn everybody. And then be prepared for this motherfucker.
Yeah, or go back to when they were about to take the gauntlet off and just don't have
Yeah, what
Star Wars fuck it up.
Yeah.
Honestly though, out of all the Marvel movies, Doctor Strange is the shit. And I know it starts really slow. It's like, the first 10, 15 minutes, he's just an asshole doctor. And I like, first 10, I hate people with big egos. So like first 10, 15 minutes, I was just sitting there like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. He sucks. And then, goes.
Watch him go through his downfall.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh wow, you get a part of this journey. And then the movie turns into a mindfuck trip. And it's like, oh, I should be on acid watching this movie or something. Like, this is just nuts. So like by far, I think Doctor Strange hands down is my favorite. But Star Wars, dude, same shit. They've fucked up Star Wars, and I'm like childhood lifetime fan. Like,
So do you hate the 1, 2, and 3 prequels?
no, I'm fine with it. I grew up with that,
Yeah.
so I'm one of those people who
So that's
I didn't know
I
any
love
better.
those movies.
Yeah, I
Honestly, Attack of the Clones might be my favorite.
I agree, but it's super slow and political, and so that's
Yeah.
kind of like a part of it, because there's the dope action scenes that happen in between. There's a lot of build up, but like growing up as a child watching that stuff, it's slower and appreciated. And obviously, I was like 10 or 11 when Revenge of the Sith came out.
Yeah.
And like, I was playing Star Wars every day at recess type shit. Like, I was not a sporty person. I was like in my imagination every day with my friends. So like, Revenge of the Sith came out, and that was life, dude. That was all that anyone of my friends group, that's all that we did. The video games were coming out all hardcore and shit, and we were just like in that world, bro. Like, that was life. And I know a lot of the people who like my parents, for example, who grew up with Star Wars when it was early, when it was like the originals, they didn't like the prequels just because like they have that perspective.
The nostalgia. Those
Yeah,
first 3 coming out, yeah.
I obviously didn't know any better because I was growing up with it. But they ruined Star Wars after when they made 7, 8, and 9. 7 was whatever, but when you bring in a new director and do all the stuff between 8, and you can tell the guy didn't like J.J. Abrams like stuff, so that's why he like killed off Snoke and made him look like a tool, put him in like that weird gold shiny suit.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, he looks lame. He doesn't look like an evil person. He looks like you know, someone's retarded grandpa or someone's really dumb grandpa, and it's just like, you know, like I can't. Like,
So the new trilogy, yeah, I wasn't a very big fan.
It's a nostalgic grab.
Yeah, but the in-between ones, Rogue One, so cold, bro.
Rogue One was amazing, and Solo was good too.
Solo was good
I
too.
liked Solo.
The only one I've really seen is Solo.
So what's cool about Solo, I watched all the cartoons, right? You know, like the Clone Wars and all that. Which
That's
is
like another
important.
thing, kind of backtracking a little bit, that the Clone Wars animated show adds a lot to those prequel movies. Because you definitely see Anakin's downfall, which in the movies, it's like, you kind of miss out on it because you don't see Ahsoka.
It fills a lot of gaps, yeah, because Ahsoka's a big part of it, and then from the movies, you don't even know that he has a Padawan, which is really, really important. You know,
like her leaving the, you know,
all of that,
Jedi
and it
like
shows
such a big downfall.
It shows you how corrupt the Jedi are, and it's funny because like a friend of mine, recently he was all telling me, he was like, you know what, like it's all backwards, bro. Like the Jedi are the bad guys and the Sith are the good people, and I was like, yo, you're dumb. And then after a little bit of thinking about it, it's kind of like, all right, hold on, like, you know, the Jedi are trying to put order in the world, and they're kind of oppressing people and, you know, stealing children when they're from their families when they're like 2, 3, 2.
My thing, why did they not go back for Anakin's mom? If they knew like he was so attached to her, bring her to the capital, let her live in a little house.
So
and
I think it's because their ideals are so like embedded in what, you know, the Jedi do. Because I think Qui-Gon knew that there was something to that. Because if you pay attention to him, he's somebody who's like kind of above and beyond what's going on in the Jedi Council. That's why he wasn't a part of it, because he didn't agree with a lot of what was happening. And so he was somebody who advocated towards that. With the Jedi Council, no attachments, no love, you can't be doing that, it doesn't matter how old he is, these go against our rules. So they didn't make an exception even for the Chosen One when they should have. Because if they let Shmi live on Coruscant, then you know, he would have been able to kind of be nurtured more and still grow up in that kind of way. But instead, severing that attachment and then later having him only come back just to see her death was a big part of Anakin's like turn towards the dark side. Was a big part of him. You know, as soon as instead of having an attachment that is love and continues and she lives because she's in a good situation, instead he goes back and sees someone that he loved and cared about, couldn't have been there for her because of his situation. It turned everything into, you know, a sour situation. So, that's why he just goes crazy and kills all those Tusken Raiders and stuff.
So I feel like part of that is in the new trilogy too, with Kylo Ren, because he was like, he wanted to be a Jedi. That was like his dream.
Right.
Luke came to kill him in his sleep, and he woke up like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that kind of turned him like, fuck the Jedi. I'm trying to murder me.
I thought Luke could have been so much cooler, and they turned him into just like a saddled man.
And he just flies.
And just, you
fades
know,
away.
just little things like
just
that.
like the things I heard about the books. Like, he was so badass. This dude was like killing Star Destroyers like with the Force. So like and then in the movie you're like, all right, here we go, Luke Skywalker back, and then he's just like, yeah, I don't
on this planet,
anymore.
just like, no, I don't
I'm a little bitch.
And I get they were trying to throw it back to he's kind of Obi-Wan now, but Obi-Wan was so much cooler. And at least Obi-Wan still fought, and he knew Obi-Wan was pretty much there for Luke from the start.
Yeah,
Luke was
just watching
like,
over. Luke was like, I want nothing to do with it. I read some books about the ancient ways, and now I'm really bummed, and I can't do anything.
I had a dream that Kylo Ren went bad, so I tried to murder him.
Obi-Wan
That's what made him.
With the rats? No. Or in the first one.
Yeah.
But
he's the one that killed Darth Maul.
Which brings me back to Solo. I was gonna say that with the whole Clone Wars thing, you know, people didn't realize that Darth Maul survived unless you watched
He
the
was so
Clone Wars.
badass in the show. Too.
Yes.
His brother. What was his name? Savage.
So Savage Opress.
Yeah, that dude was cold.
But yeah, you didn't realize that he was alive unless you watched the Clone Wars. So for a lot of people, it was Solo where they were like Darth Maul.
That's why I want that Darth Maul movie, like
So
or the series. or whatever.
I heard there's a couple things, right? They said there's going to be an Obi-Wan movie,
Mhm.
a
I heard
Darth
about
Maul
the
movie.
Ahsoka show.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka is going to be in The Mandalorian.
Okay, I
She's
started
been
watching
casted
that.
and everything. If you've seen the Marvel Netflix shows,
That's something.
so you know the Doctor Girl, in the show, she's like the doctor. She's literally one of the characters.
I know from like the Defenders and everything.
Yeah.
Cage. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
She's
like
like the-
Ariana Dawson.
Yeah, she's like the
character.
only
Yeah.
character who's connected with every single one of them because
Mhm.
she's in each one. You know, I think the girl with blonde hair is kind of connected with a few of them too, but the doctor is actually meets them all in different ways and is in every single.
She brings them together.
Yeah,
actually,
she's that person. She's the one who's live casted as Ahsoka.
Oh, for real?
She's fucking perfect, bro.
Dude,
she
that's
even
good
has
casting.
similar facial structure and everything. It's like
That's tight.
she's perfect for it. So yeah, she's apparently gonna be in the Mandalorian.
That's
So
cool.
that's tight.
Mandalorian is so good.
Bro, oh my god, I can't get over how good it is. I really can't. Like it's just so good.
Like the first episode, I was like, it's game.
Have you
This show's
seen the creation of it? So they don't use green screens. They don't do any of that anymore. What they have is these LED cameras that it's taken like high definition pictures of certain areas and their surroundings. And then there's an algorithm that goes through. It's like a computer system where when the camera is shooting you and then it turns or you turn, then the LED screen in the background will shift to the angle of what the background is based on perspective. And it's
That's
all
crazy.
So it's like some stereo technology.
yeah, it's all run through the algorithm and but basically what it does is as the camera's moving around and shifting, it makes it so that the background looks like it's just a normal shifting view.
See, and that's crazy because I was wondering, I was like, man, like I know Disney's like, the
They
most successful
did
company,
all that
but-
shooting in like one room, bro.
See, I was gonna say, I was wondering how they have so much money to make these Star Wars type visuals
Yeah.
for just a TV show.
Dude, there was some. You gotta watch it. It's on there. It's like the making of, and there's some pretty badass stuff. Like they literally. It's really funny because they hired a bunch of stormtroopers, like literally, like Hollywood, like people who go to like costume parties and people who go to like birthday parties dressed up as stormtroopers and shit. So they like asked a group of these people who do that to come to like a party because they were going to be needed to be stormtroopers at this place. So they show up and it turns out they're on the set for fucking Star Wars film. And yeah, so all these like stormtroopers are just like they're
fans.
Yeah, they're fans and they're freaking out because it's like now all of a sudden they get to be in a Star Wars
That's so true.
yeah, and they're just all genuinely stoked, and there's some website that you can register to be a stormtrooper, so they all have their stormtrooper like numbers and shit. They're all like ST1047 or some bullshit. So like, they're all doing that, and they act in the scene. In the one scene where they try to hold them up, like all the stormtroopers show up, and the guy who plays the bad guy in Breaking Bad, comes out with the dark saber, and they're all just like lined up and aiming at the whatever with the Mandalorian in it, and he escapes through the whatever. A bunch of those stormtroopers in there are like the street
That's so cool.
actors and stuff. Yeah, so.
That's so tight the way they did that too. They're probably so hyped.
Dude, they were so stoked because it was a huge surprise. They didn't tell them. They didn't let him know what was happening. So they were just all like,
See, the thing about the Mandalorian though is like, yeah, I get the hype for Baby Yoda. He's tight.
yeah.
But Mando is, he's way better than Boba or Jango Fett.
So there's a lot of I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've had on my car outside you can see I have the Mandalorian sticker on on the side, and I've had that since way before the Mandalorian was out. I plan on getting the Mandalorian symbol tattooed as well. There's just deep love for that stuff, and Mando culture is cool, and that's what's tight about the Clone Wars is because they actually show you a bunch of it in there's certain parts of it where they dive into it. And if you ever played the old video games Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy,
Mm-hmm.
or not even that one. Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic.
That one like explains a lot of Mandalorian history and stuff because you know like the Jedi and the Mandos had like a war, a whole war that happened before, and you think to yourself, you're like, how could Mandalorians even fight Jedi? Like, how does that work? And then in the Clone Wars, you know, like they released the final season this year that connects all the way up to the. Have you guys watched it?
Yeah, definitely. It's
Okay, so all the little gadgets and stuff that they have that can fight against Jedi, it makes sense. You know, they have their little like shields that block like whatever. They have their little guns that like do various things and basically block out the Force and all this kind of stuff. And they even have they put Darth Maul in the old Force draining chamber and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like ancient from that war, so that it explains a lot of
definitely.
past
There's a lot of
stuff.
history in there.
Yeah, it's so cool. Huge nerd. I can nerd out about that shit for days. Like,
So it's kind of a good stopping point, but we kind of want something about y'all. I'm like really enjoying this conversation. Like, you guys want to finish the YouTube, like with the put on segment, and then we'll have like some exclusive Spotify. It could go longer because
What are we at?
we're at I think an hour 5,
oh, yeah.
hour 3. So I mean, the YouTube can be a little shorter. They can tune in on Spotify if they want to hear the rest.
Alright. Yeah, we can. That's
So,
cool.
Cool.
Also, this man wants to play a little bit of his tunes if you still want to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I just recorded a song within the past couple days.
I thought that was wrong.
Super.
My screen was like off, so I don't know what happened. I don't know how long we were at. I don't know when it stopped.
Oh.
That's cool. We get audio from that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good that I'm stopping.
I mean, you
too.
can play it at the end and see.
See what
I mean, but it stops at 49 minutes.
Oh, so it stopped like,
20 minutes ago.
damn.
For real?
I mean, we're at hour 5.
That's true.
So I mean,
You just have to-
just export this.
Then start over.
Yeah, and then we'll just have.
Do you want to
Cut 'em
tell
down.
YouTube about your put on segment real quick too? While that's extra.
Well,
What
yeah,
do
yeah, you could you could tell it to the camera, and then I'll just fill in. The audio's gonna be a little worse.
That's alright. Because we just had a bunch of good stuff, so we're gonna have to clip it together.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just.
No, we're like we.
This is the
Totally.
only time this has ever happened, so.
Alright, so
This man does not know how to.
if
Edit.
we're still learning all the audio shit.
No, yeah, of course, man. Of course.
We're episode 8 now.
Mm-hmm. 2 months in.
Solid. That's solid, bro. And you still scheduled out for a minute?
Yeah,
So-
people be like flaking.
Almost
We-
every week.
People like
Almost every week they flake, so we're
So,
kind of just doing
like you,
random
a
now.
lot of Denver people hit me up, and then when they find out that we're so far into the Springs, they're like, "Oh, that's too far."
Yeah, I knew it was. I knew the Springs is an hour away, but I wasn't ready for the added 30 minutes. I was like, oh
Yeah, sorry.
shit.
We're like almost.
No, it's okay though,
And
cause
now you're here.
yeah, no, I mean, first of all, I'm not a flaky person. I might have been hella late, but I definitely. I guess that's way better than flaky.
Definitely.
But no, there's a number of reasons, bro. Like, I want to connect the culture. I want to bring a community.
Yeah, that's
together.
kind of like
what
the whole purpose of our podcast.
Yeah.
Like, we're just trying to expand out, and we're hoping people build us up because they're coming on the show,
I
and then
agree.
we can use that as a platform to build up other people,
Yeah, it's all
and like
right.
kind of create that culture.
Exactly.
that we do, like,
The
with
problem
people.
that we're having right now is a lot of the people that come on to the show, like so far, have been like either our friends, our family, shit like that. So it's all the same circle. We haven't expanded outside of it. So with you, you're like the first official guest that's like outside of our immediate circle.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad I could be a part of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So it should give us some more fan base from your
Yeah,
side, and
hopefully
you'll
reach
get
out.
a fan base from our side
Yeah.
of our like immediate circle.
Yeah, dude, because as I've been doing more stuff this year, I've definitely been noticing, not to sound weird, but like respect on my name, you know what I mean? Like, people are noticing that shit. I performed once or twice, people are singing my lyrics and shit. Like, I only have one song out, so like the fact that people even know some of my other songs is like,
Cool.
I guess they're like, it's repetitive enough to like figure it out, but it's a damn good feeling, you know? Like, literally I've been, cause I released Bitch on a Bitch, so I've been doing a lot of my marketing in Germany because there's a huge underground BDSM kink culture out there. I actually got like most of my clothes sold in Germany. I'm apparently like blowing up in Germany right now.
See, Germany, like the Europe is like such a weird scene because like my favorite artist, I've said this so many times, but it's Denzel Curry.
Yeah.
He tours in Europe more than he tours here because they have such a respect for
Tyler,
him. He's found a community.
There's a number of reasons. They love American music out there, and I think a part of that is because the English language is so dumb. It's very easily manipulative. And that's why I love writing in English and using it, because there's so many words that
you can say trying and trying.
Yeah.
And it's two different ending syllables to rhyme with.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to rhyme with trying, then you say trying. If you're trying to just rhyme with trying, because you're trying, or you're trying.
Yeah.
You can literally, one letter, same word, same meaning, one letter makes the rhyme scheme 100%.
See, and that's why, did anybody else ever get told that English is the hardest language to learn because of how many same things there?
And
but then every other country is like, no, English is the easiest language to learn.
It's
like wild.
I've heard
I
that
feel like
too.
it's hard to learn the slang.
The
so
slang,
much stuff that like even I'm like, what the fuck did you say?
The reason why they say it's the hardest language to learn is because there's so many exceptions to rules that go into it. Like I don't have E except after C, but then you have science.
But no, dude.
And then we don't have the feminine and male like wording for everything. It's just one word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's a part of it too, because like if you listen to other languages when they rap, like if you ever listen to Swedish rap, it's very the same. You can tell that they're not, their language itself, the way that it's structured, makes it so that there's not words that can be said in certain ways. English, you can say literally some words mean more than one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you could say the same word.
Yeah, you can say your and your.
Or
the same thing.
Or you can literally like rap one word and then rap a phrase that sounds distinctly like that word. You know what I mean? And when I write, I love alliteration is one of my biggest tools. So I'll definitely use stuff like that to where you're basically saying the same thing. A lot of mumble rappers do that too, if you ever notice. Where it sounds like they're saying the same word, but they're really not. They're saying something different. The sentence that they're creating is different. But I think because of that, it makes it so that English is easily manipulatable to where writing and the way that it sounds afterwards, it's fantastic because of that. Other languages,
just like he says, pillow.
Pillow.
Hello, it works. It works.
Yeah.
And
Bitch on my pillow.
I just went to my pillow.
I stopped.
Yeah, let's finish this YouTube segment. We can keep it going.
Wait.
Yo guys, we're just announcing our team up with the Escaping Network, hosted by Daniel Rojas.
Yeah, the main and starting podcast on there is the Escaping Podcast.
They also have Where to Caption At.
And we are joining their team starting this month and moving forward.
So be on the lookout.
Yeah, excited for great things.
Thank you guys. Not only am I down, I've been feeling broken. I will never ask for help, my emotions never open. I bury them inside, I'm just always floating. I'm up on cloud 9, I'm hoping you can notice.